So let me pull up a bucket here and have one of our on-the-bucket conversations. We brought Oreo home. We got him in the barn, in the barn stall here. Got him all secure. Got him settled in. We was going to keep him in here for about a week, and a few days, whatever it would have been. And here's the series of events that happened since we brought him home. Some of you have already noticed and figured out something is different. Something is wrong. Wait, he's got one of the white goats in there. This one's Fiona in there with Oreo. How does this happen? And what's the goat tote doing inside the barn? Well, the next day we got up. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. And we went to a funeral and was gone with the funeral for several hours. We come back home to find Oreo is actually not in the barn anymore, and he's out in the training lot with the other two goats. Now, completely, absolutely puzzled. How could this be? How in the world could this happen? People say that goats are escape artists. I get that. I understand it. I read it. I've listened to podcasts, and I get that. I assume that means like if there's a crack, they can push it open. Well, that's my trap. You're going to see here in just a little while that I got set. But they can push it open and then they can get out. I had no idea goats could climb over a gate. I had no idea. But I'm going to show you here in a little bit exactly what he did and how he climbed over a gate. So we thought, well, no big deal. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll change our plan. We'll leave him in there with them. When he gets old enough to breed them, we were going to let him breed them anyway. So we thought, we'll just change the plan. My dad comes over. He's looking around and wanting to see kind of what our operation looks like. He's one of our biggest fans, one of our biggest supporters. He's always looking at this stuff and interested in it. And he's sitting there on the porch, and he says, I think your buck's out. No, I thought he was just messing with me. I thought he was just kidding me. Man, I look down there, and them two white goats are running up and down the fence, and he's running up and down the fence. I thought, you're just kidding me. I look, no, he's out of the training pen. We still have no idea how he got out. We were laughing at ourselves. I said, okay, so we don't have all of that on video, but we found a way to get him back in the training pen. And you have to laugh at yourself, because just a rough estimation of the 3 gates that are in there, the cattle panels that are involved, the expensive wire that's involved, the post and having the post driven. I'm sitting here while I'm chasing this goat, and I'm figuring out I got $1,700 somewhere thereabouts in this training pen. It is tight enough to hold a puppy dog, and somehow Houdini here has gotten out.
I do with him.
Get out. Well, plan A didn't work. So we got him back in and just couldn't really figure out what to do. My dad had a great idea. He's like, here's what you need to do. You need to catch that buck and you need to put him in this, because he said your biggest mistake was you had one goat pinned up by himself. He said you can't pin one goat up by themselves. They just aren't going to stay. He said, so pin him up in here. He can't get out of the tote. We assume he can't get out of this tote. I told Lisa, I said, if he gets out of this, we're selling him, okay? But anyway, pin him up in here and then start feeding the other goats in here and let them become more comfortable coming in and out of the barn, and that might work. Well, everything kind of seems to have evolved. So last night I came down here and I thought, I tried to catch him and I couldn't catch him. Couldn't get him to come in here. Those other goats wouldn't let him come in here. So on our way home from seeing our our second grandbaby, our grandson, brand new, newborn, 3 days old. He's 4 days old today. On our way home from seeing him, Lisa had a great idea. She's like, how about we set a trap for him? And so you're going to see, or you have seen, I don't know exactly how she'll put this video together, that we actually set a trap. This gate here is set up in a way where I've got it spring loaded. We got a trigger cord on it. You know, I'm an old trapper. I used to trap whenever I was younger. And I'm like, this is fun. We're going to have a blast with this. So we actually set that up. And this morning, it actually worked. It didn't work 100% because we didn't catch all 3 goats. But now we have these 2 caught. We have them put in here. Now we have Myrnie out there who's freaking out, and she's not interested in coming down here into the barn. So we're going to give this a rest, and we're going to leave it just like this. We're going to reset the trap, and then at some point when she gets comfortable coming in and out, because I know she's going to hang out with these 2 goats, at some point as she's coming in and out, I'm going to sneak down here and get me a good chance to pull that on her. So Lisa and I have obviously a new problem. Now we have 3 goats that we need to catch that do not want to be caught. So on our drive home from visiting our brand new grandson this evening, which was exciting, holding that brand new grandbaby, we were brainstorming and talking, and it's fun how you do this homesteading together. And we're starting to mention a little bit about common sense, just using common sense. And Lisa is a thinker, and she comes up with some great ideas from time to time on these things too. And I used to do some trapping, so it kind of, both of our ideas blended together. But it was her idea to do this. I had this old chain link gate laying around over here, and I moved the hinges from the side to the back. And I've temporarily pinned this to this cattle panel back here. And I run a trigger wire, trigger string, piece of twine, all the way over where I can be outside the barn. We've tied this gate up. We've got a narrow way here. This actually ends up, I've got a cant on it, so it'll actually assist itself in closing, and it's spring loaded because just accidentally, because of the way these hang out on the end of it, they press against this panel, and I had to press it back and spring load it. So I took, and Lisa can zoom in here, I took and clipped one of these barbs behind this goat tote, and so it's spring loaded. It's like a hair trigger. It's a trap. We've set a trap. And so tomorrow morning, I'm going to try to feed all those goats in here. And they've been coming in here to feed, and they've been kind of tolerating me. So if we can get them deep enough back there, our plan is now to close this, and we'll have all 3 of them caught. The white ones that we've been talking about catching for a while, we think this is going to work. We can't hurt them. We can't coax them in here. We can't keep them long enough to catch them. We can't get around there and trick them and close the door. They stand here and they look up and they see if you're coming. And then they come back. And if they see you're coming, man, they're out. So tomorrow morning, we'll see what happens. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go out to the bullpen. I'm going to get a portable hang-on hay feeder that I've made. It's pretty cool too. May do a review on that here one of these days and show you how I made that. And I'm going to hang that hay feeder on this crate with zip ties. I'll be able to give them grain in here and water in here. And you know, I know this creates a level of stress for these animals, but their stress is no higher right now than mine. So before we get done with this part of the video, I'm going to turn around here and I'm going to show you what this rascal did to escape. So we had this gate pretty much right here like it was. And I mean, look at this. You're going to say, okay, there's no way. But some of you might not. Some of you have already had goats, and you're like, there is a way, all right? This gate was not here. This is the corner he got out of. And the evidence, the reason I know is because there's the white hair. There's the dirt off of his feet. The gravel was all pawed up. But I'll go to this side to show you exactly how he got out. So what he did, I could just tell by looking at it, evaluating it. He stood up on this, and he got his front feet over this. And then he started walking up this wire we put in here so that we could put the pup in here, the livestock guardian puppy. So we can put him in here to train him with goats and chickens. We put this wire on here. He started walking up that. You can see the wire over there where he pressed it down. He started walking his back legs up that, and he went right out. So I don't trust goats. I don't trust goats at all. when you hear on podcasts, when you hear on these videos, when you hear me say goats will get out in places you can't imagine they'll get out, well, I think we're just now starting to learn that. My dad, and I don't think he coined the phrase, I think this is common amongst people who raise goats, but my dad said, here's how you test your fence. He said, if you can throw water through it, just know that your goats will get out of it. And he was kind of joking, halfway in a sense, but I'm starting to think, not fully joking. So that's how they got out. Myrnie's out there. She's not going to stay away from these two goats very long. We're going to try to reset the trap. We also had another issue yesterday that just blew my mind, and it made me laugh. These animals are very, very smart. I'll take a walk over here, and I'll show you the other thing we dealt with yesterday. Yesterday was crazy. So before we had the whole escape artist thing on Oreo, and I started calling him Zorro yesterday for some reason, I guess because he was so fast and so sharp. But anyway, sitting up here on the porch watching our goats. I had come down to the barn lot, I think to check their water or something. I came right down to this corner, opened this gate, took the chain off, opened the gate, chained it back behind me, went in and do whatever I was going to do. I came back out, opened the gate, latched the chain, walked to the house. It might have been 10, 15 minutes later, both of those white goats, one of them, I think it was Fiona that did it, but both of them white goats ended up right here where they saw me get out of this gate, and they started standing up on this fence and nosing this chain. They knew that is how I got out, and they started lipping and nosing that chain, trying to open that chain and trying to get out. So I ended up having to go to the farm store and get a snap, and always snap your gates, because we sat there at the house and watched them. What I'd been doing was running this through the hole, or latching it actually like that, and then running the tail through the hole and just letting it hang down. But it didn't take them very long at all to figure out that is what got me out of it. They are so smart. I was just amazed at how intelligent that was, and they started working on that chain right away. So snap your gates. Find some way to make sure they're absolutely secure. Come running at the same time. pull up the bucket here. I'll give you the rundown on what's going on. We feel like we have reached a success story. All three of the goats are caught. They're all in the barn. They're all in the barn in a way that we believe they cannot get out. And so the goal here now is to keep them up for 1 week, the three of them together. And then after that week's over, the other 5 goats will be coming home. So we'll keep them all 8 together for another week after that. That'll be 2 weeks in the barn for part of them, or for these 3, and 1 week in the barn for all 8. The goal at this point is that they learn that they get their grain, they get their hay, they get their water from us in the barn. Every time they see us, we want them to think food. I do believe that after we build a small corral outside the barn that gives us a little more room to close the gate, and even without that, I believe once they get used to the competition factor in eating, we've already seen that in these. The only reason Myrnie came in the barn was because she knew the other 2 were eating. She would never come in the barn unless I put food out. So we believe the competition factor is going to keep them coming in the barn to eat. We just go ahead and make a resolve, Lisa and I have, that we're not going to feed them unless we feed them in the barn. And even if we never really get to handle them, without catching them in the barn, I think that we're going to be able to feed them in the barn on a regular basis, close them in anytime we need to work them or check them or do anything. And so we're happy with that. We're satisfied with that. We're going to spend some time just letting them get used to the fact that anytime they see us, they think food. And we're happy that chapter is over and we've learned from it, and we hope to improve our process later because of what we went through. We're very glad that you're following our channel, and we hope that you'll hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We'd really like to hear back from you. Leave a comment down in the comments section below. And don't forget that notification bell. It'll help you know when our next video comes out, which will involve more animals. Oh wait, who's this? Where did you come from? This is Piper. And if you want to know more about Piper, who she is, where she came from, how old she is, what her job is on the homestead, then you'll just have to stay tuned, and we'll put out a video all about Piper. All right, thank you for watching.